How's it going, guys? I'm Danny, and this is everything you need to know about playing in the wind. First thing to know about playing in the wind is wind doesn't just blow in one direction. It's not always what I just feel from the tee. It's important to look further down the fairways for things such as leaves blowing or the flag on the basket to understand what the wind is doing the length of the fairway, because it can change halfway down sometimes. So first I'm going to talk about headwinds and tailwinds. When I'm throwing in a headwind, the first thing I focus on is keeping the nose down, because as soon as I have the nose up, the disc is going to rise, and I have this bottom edge of the disc here is going to act like a brake, slowing it down and robbing me of distance. Now in a headwind, as far as shot selection, I'm going to throw a fast, overstable disc on a hyzer. I throw a fast disc because the wind is blowing at the disc, so the disc is going to behave like it's thrown harder. It's traveling faster relative to the wind. I throw an overstable disc because if I throw a disc with any turn, this is going to be amplified by the wind and it adds unpredictability. And I throw a hyzer because towards the end of a disc's flight, it tends to go a little bit nose up, and that's what causes it to fade. And in a headwind, the wind is going to get underneath this thing and it's going to catch and make it skip and fade a lot more. And so it's important to throw a hyzer to control that skip. Now in a tailwind, I'm going to do just the opposite. I'm going to throw a slower, less stable disc straight at my target. I throw a slower disc because relative to the wind, the disc is flying slower. And I throw an understable disc because the disc isn't flying as fast, so it's going to turn less. That means an understable disc is going to hold straight for longer and fly directly at my target. And I throw a straight shot because towards the end of the flight, the nose is going to go up again, but the tailwind coming at it is going to push it down, and it's generally going to stick where it hits. It's not going to fade too much. Now when I'm playing in a crosswind, the first thing I do is I decide whether I'm going for distance or accuracy, because that completely changes my shot. If I'm going for maximum distance, I'm doing what I call flying kites. And that's where I allow the wind to get underneath the disc, underneath the bottom of the disc here, and lift it up and add extra distance. So that means in a right to left crosswind, I'm throwing a backhand hyzer. The wind will get under here, lift it up, add distance, but also towards the end of its flight, it's going to get pushed further left because of the crosswind, and it's going to skip when it hits the ground. So this adds unpredictability. Now in a left to right crosswind for maximum distance, I'm throwing a stable Anhyzer. I say stable Anhyzer because I want the disc to ride the Anhyzer with the wind underneath it, pushing it forward the whole time, and I want it to come out at the end. Because if I'm throwing an understable disc on an Anhyzer, it's going to get pushed over too much by the wind. It's going to hit the ground and roll further right than I intend. So it's important to throw a disc that has some finish on it, so it finishes in the fairway. Now if I'm playing for any sort of accuracy, I'm doing just the opposite. I'm putting the top of the disc towards the wind. That means in a left to right wind, I'm throwing a backhand hyzer. I'll throw the disc, the wind will come at it like this, knock it down, and it's going to stick where it hits. This sacrifices some distance, but it adds so much accuracy. Now if I have a right to left crosswind, I'm generally not going to throw an Anhyzer. This is because the chances of the disc getting knocked down too soon and cut rolling are there, and also if the disc glides out at the end and starts to finish, the wind is going to catch it again and push it further left. So generally in my right to left wind, I'm going to throw a forehand. Even though it's not my strongest throw, it's the best shot in a right to left crosswind. Two more things about playing in the wind. It's important to practice. It's important to really know your disc. I say everything you need to know about playing in the wind, but really there is no substitution for practice. And the second thing is to lower your expectations. If I go to a course where I regularly shoot 6 or 7 down and it's windy out, I need to lower those expectations. I need to play more conservatively because everybody has to play in the same wind, and the wind becomes the number one concern at that point. So thanks for watching. My video next week is going to be on timing the upper body. Let me know if you have any questions about playing in the wind, or if you have any suggestions for future topics. Until then, remember, slow is smooth and smooth is far.